What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the fallout after the Bulls win against the Charlotte Hornets, in which the bench stepped up big time. Patrick Williams probably had his best game of the season. Zach LaVine playing in his first back-to-back. So many storylines in this game. We're going to talk about all those and some more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So the win last night against the Charlotte Hornets was good to see for a couple of different reasons, right? There are definitely some concerns you can pull out of it as well. You don't want to act like everything was all sunshine and rainbows. The Bulls did get the dub, which is the most important thing. Now, in this game, this is probably one of the games in which if somebody talked to you about the box score in this game, specifically for our stars in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine going 4 for 16 in this game for 10 points, DeMar DeRozan going 2 for 11 for only 9 points. That means that they combined to go 6 of 27 for a combined 19 points. But the reason why the Bulls were still able to pull out of this game and win this game is 49 points coming off the bench for the Chicago Bulls. Javonte Green, Derrick Jones Jr., and Goran Dragic all in double digits. Javonte leads the way, going 7 of 7 from the field and 3 for 3 from three-point range for 17 points. Derrick Jones Jr. was 2 for 6 from the field, but those 2 were three-pointers, and he got to the free throw line 4 times, good enough for 10 points. And Goran Dragic, 16 points in this game, only 2 for 4 from three-point range, but 6 for 9 overall from the field. He also chips in 3 assists and 3 rebounds in this game. Javonte had 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks to chip into his effort as well. The Bulls came in and they played this game excellently from the standpoint of the bench. Now, in that starting lineup, we already talked about cold night from DeMar and Zach and Ayo. If you throw that in, Ayo also going 3 for 10 for only 8 points in there. But Patrick Williams and Nikola Vucevic really did the work damage in the starting lineup. And Vooch didn't even have the best game either. He went 5 for 16 for 14 points, but he did chip in 13 rebounds. Patrick Williams, though, in this game, 7 for 9, 2 for 2 from three-point range, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 16 points. We are now seeing Patrick Williams not only pick his spots and be more aggressive offensively, but we're seeing that dog back on the defensive end for Patrick Williams in this game. We talked about it. I said that was one of the things that I wanted to see in this game. And Patrick Williams has a big stretch of just guarding key players that we're going to talk about more so to end this show. But this game, Zach LaVine's first time playing back-to-back left a lot to be desired for him. He even admitted a lot of his shorts were shot. His shorts were shot. A lot of his shots were short, as I get tongue-tied. A lot of his shots were short last night. And he talked about not really having the legs down the stretch. But this is a good sign that they at least played him on this back-to-back. He's still going to play against Boston, I would think. I hope he's not at risk to sit that game because of playing this back-to-back. But I'm sure the team wanted to get a look at how he responded to back-to-back. Zach was probably really antsy about being able to play in back-to-backs as well. Left a lot to be desired, but you can see in this just how he comes along. He was given really good defensive effort as well. Zach LaVine in the game where he goes 4 for 16 still finishes the game at a plus-minus of plus 19 because he was doing other things out there on the court. He chipped in 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals in this one. Again, this was a game in which Zach LaVine realized his shot wasn't going to be falling early on, and he did some other things out there on the court. Now, the Bulls won every single quarter. While, not allowing for a big lead, they did lose the lead there for a little while, but the Bulls won the first quarter by 1 point. They won the second quarter by 8 points. They won the third quarter by 5 points, and then also won the fourth quarter by 4 points. That's how you want to see this team play against a much inferior competition. I wish the Bulls would have put their foot on their necks a little bit earlier so we could have got, the starters to sit down. I wasn't expecting Zach to go over 30 minutes in this game for sure, but at the end of the day, the Bulls took care of business. There's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things you could possibly take out of this game as well. You could tell that we were the team that was coming off a back-to-back because when they were in fast break, we really didn't have any answers for them in the fast break defense. And also the three-point shots, while the Hornets only went 7 of 32 from the three-point range, they had a lot of open shots. We weren't closing out there in certain stretches. I'd say overall in game, we defended it pretty well, but there were stretches out there we just weren't defending the three too well. Again, coming off a back-to-back, you kind of expect that a little bit. But the Charlotte Hornets were able to get off 26 fast break points to the Bulls only having 12 fast break points. Again, that's a sign of legs. and just being tired on a back-to-back. We're going to have the rest disadvantage in a lot of games this season. But overall, like I said, I take a lot of positivity out this game. I like the way the team played. I like the way the team combated. I like the way they locked in defensively down the stretch. In love with this bench, even without Andre Drummond. Goran Dragic after the game saying the Chicago Bulls have the best bench in the league. And I tell you what, especially when you look at whenever Lonzo does come back, whether Lonzo, he's going to come back off the bench initially, but either him or Io being on that bench elevates that bench even more. If Kobe White can get and stay consistent, it elevates that bench even more. We have such a deep bench that it's just going to be it's going to be so fun to see every night, right? Goran's out there just cutting through the defense like butter, like really not moving. Like I said, he doesn't do things too quick, right? But it's the way he deliberately moves out there on the court that is just a revelation. He creates buckets for himself and for other people out there, and that's something that's just, hey, yeah, that's a luxury you can't take for granted with this team. The way that our bench plays is just amazing. And then when you look at it, we still have our faults. We don't have a ton of size. We all know that we are a small ball team. Generally, we're always going to have somebody playing out of position there. But when you look at like the combination of Javonte Green and Patrick Williams and what they gave from the power forward spot tonight, it's crazy. 35 points from them collectively, 13 rebounds from them collectively, 2 assists, 2 steals, and then 4 blocks from them collectively. Like that's what you want from that position. Again, this was a team that they were better matched up against, going small and things like that. But you love to see the Bulls when they have the advantage to play in the way that we need and want to see this team play. And this is a game in which DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine don't show up. We probably lose this game if it was last season's Bulls. So shout out to the Bulls for just coming in, taking care of business. And we needed to, because we got a hellacious slate. And I want to specifically talk about Patrick Williams in this. Now, Patrick Williams has put together now at this point 4 solid games in a row, 4 to 5 solid games in a row. 4 out of the last 5, he scored in double digits. He's being better out there, much better out there on defense. No longer being passive P, but being back to P will on that aggressive. His rotations are good. How he gets out and on the pick and roll is good. I also like to seeing him take people off the dribble and using that mid-range shot and holding on to his release a little bit because his shot release isn't quick, but where he releases that ball makes it very difficult for people to contest. When you look at his length, things like that, Patrick Williams' confidence has been built up. And it needs to be built up because Patrick Williams is going to be tested all the next 9 games, basically. So let's look at the next matchups that Patrick Williams has coming up. So Friday, we have Boston. He's probably going to be guarding Jason Tatum. Toronto, we face Toronto on a home and home, both Sunday and Monday. He's going to be guarding Pascal Siakam in those games. Then we face New Orleans. That's Zion Williamson. Then you face Denver. You're probably looking at him. He's either going to be guarding Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr., but he's still going to be, again, a nice test for them. New Orleans, again, that's Zion again, or Brandon Ingram, either one. Orlando, he gets the guard. They're probably the person who's playing like the rookie of the year so far in Paolo Banchero. He gets to guard him, who's been on a tear to start his NBA season. Then we're back in Boston, so back to Tatum. Then it's Milwaukee versus Giannis. Those are big tests for Patrick Williams coming up and how he can impact the game, especially if he's given us some things offensively and defensively in this game. You know, there's been a lot of Patrick Williams, I wouldn't call it hate, strong critique thrown towards him, rightfully so in a lot of areas as well since this season started. The games that he's put together, the way that Billy Donovan has used this time to really ramp up his minutes slowly but surely as that confidence builds, and we're seeing him react and perform in that way very well. But these next handful of games, I took you all the way to November 23rd. So from now until November 23rd, over the course of the next 9 games, Patrick Williams, we're going to know if it's P will, if it's passive P. We're going to know if this confidence is something that's going to be here to stay or it's not. Now, again, he's probably going to have an off game or 2 over 9 games, if not more than that. There's going to be some games where his shot just isn't falling. But now what we're seeing with P. Will is the effort that he's given on defense, the energy that he's given on defense is like as long as he's given that, crashing the boards, doing what he can there, passing the ball well, going active after blocks. We're seeing Patrick Williams now time his blocks a little bit better and use that length better to be on help defense as well. If this is going to be the version that we get of Patrick Williams, then that's key. I've said it before. I gave you guys the stat. Patrick Williams has played, 96 or so games in his career. Over the course of that, he's only gotten double-digit shot attempts 17 or 18 times. In those, he averages 18.6 points per game. But again, we have to see this version of P. Will to see if that's going to come to fruition. Again, I'm not expecting P. Will to have 18 points per game. I'm expecting him to be effective over this next 9-game stretch and for him to show us, again, to have that faith back in P. Will and what he could mean for this team, because a P. Will playing good, especially on that defensive end, not passing up offensive shots, building in that confidence, takes this team to new heights, especially as we look and wait for Drummond to come back, Alonzo Ball to come back. And once we get this team hitting on the ground and running, we got a dangerous team here in Chicago. And I don't want to go without saying, too, as well, Goran Dragic has just been amazing for the Bulls. Like our guard position overall, which we knew was probably going to be a strength for us, has been strengthened even more by Goran Dragic. And even though Io in this game, too, did not have the best game, Io's getting after defensively. Io's always giving you something. Coming into the season, and even after the start of the season, I don't know, we're 1 game above 500 with a hellacious 9 games next. The next 9-game stretch, the next 20 days for the Chicago Bulls are going to be some of the most important of the season. We're going to get so many tests against good teams as a team. We're going to get so many individual challenges as well for some of the players, like I pointed out about Patrick Williams over this next stretch. How this bench continues to grow and come together. We're starting to see some of those answers. Starting to see some of the answers to those questions that we had about this Bulls team early in the season be answered. And they're being answered in a positive way. I, for one, am really excited. I'm really happy about this team overall. You guys know I've never been somebody who is hugely down on this team. Did see some of the issues that I have called out and been concerns, but this team is coming together in a very nice way. And as we continue to grow, as we continue to get there, those people who are worried about us being a play-in, they may have to eat those words, but we got to prove it on the court. Let me know how you guys feel about everything. How do you think Patrick Williams is going to fare in the next 9 games in which he guards some of the best players in the NBA, some of the most dangerous scorers in the NBA over the course of that time? Let me know how you think it's going to do. Sound off and everything down below. Make sure you're following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. And like I like to end everything on, go Bulls, love you guys, and see red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.